So next up, we have two students, Ahmed and Hisham. Hisham is a Sudanese-American student, graduate student at MIT, and Ahmed is a Sudanese-British student at the graduate school MIT and Harvard. So please allow me to welcome Ahmed and Hisham.
Okay, who's ever been to a hackathon at MIT? All right, here we go. Okay, well, I'm about to take you guys all there, okay? So follow with me, okay? Turn your brains on for a second, okay? Let's get this, all right? Ready? So the way we usually do it is they'll have somebody come up, right? And they'll pitch their idea. And it'll either be accepted 100% wholeheartedly by the whole crowd or rejected and destroyed and crash and burn destructively. So the way we start it off usually is we have somebody get up and we say 1, 2, 3, pitch. So y'all can do that, right? Okay, cool. Okay, ready? We're gonna do it together, okay? And Ahmed is gonna tell us about his idea. We're gonna either accept it or reject it, okay? Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3, pitch!
Stop wishing and start doing. This is a phrase that has come to mean the world to me over the past couple of years. When I first came to Cambridge, like many of you, I was just amazed by the great opportunities all around me. Whether it's going to the MIT Media Lab and seeing the latest and greatest showcase in robotics technology, or attending an inspiring talk by Eric Schmidt or Steven Spielberg and having inspired me through his experiences. This conducive environment allowed me to believe in my peer group. People all around me, fellow students, fellow colleagues, were doing amazing things. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? Maybe I can do amazing things too. Now, in my second week here at Cambridge, I attended my first hackathon. It's actually, in fact, where Hisham and I first met. And if you haven't been to a hackathon, because some of you haven't, it's a fantastic experience. You should definitely try it once. What you have is a crowd just like you here today, and a mic up on the stage. And the MC, much like Hisham tried to do, would hype up the crowd so that everyone in the crowd would encourage their fellow students there to come up on the stage and pitch their idea. And at the beginning, everyone would be a little bit hesitant about sharing their idea with the rest of the crowd. But slowly, as the energy builds, you would have a line of people waiting to come and share their idea. Now, the best thing is what happens next. People mingle, they get together, they seek out the people that share their passions, that share their interests, and they start forming teams and they work together towards solving a problem, towards turning their idea into reality. Sounds great, right? So what if we take a slice of that back to our home countries? Now, my home country is Sudan, and Sudan has many, many challenges. A civil war that doesn't seem to want to end, grinding poverty, lack of basic infrastructure, and economic sanctions that seem to accomplish very little other than maintain the status quo. Now, that is the currently how things are. But the flip side of it is the following. You have the untapped potential of the youth, a whole generation that have simply been blocked. And the untapped potential of the youth is what I really care about. So how do we address that? In our experience, it was to find a way to tap into that potential, to really reach them and empower them to solve their own problems. Now, when I go back to Sudan, it saddens me to speak to my cousins, speak to my friends, and hear from them that sense of defeat. That the forces blocking their opportunities are so big and so strong that it's almost impossible to succeed. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. When we went back to Sudan, we were just there for 2 weeks or a summer. And we realized that these challenges are real, that people have real problems that they face up to. But we can't simply wish them away.
And that's right.
We need to take the first steps. We need to take the first steps, no matter how small, no matter how futile, just to help them solve those problems.
And just like Ahmed was saying, we're sort of stuck with this idea that you have these people blocking you almost at every opportunity. And that happened everywhere. And it really just built this sense of defeat. And on the other hand, we had people, I mean, I'm going to be honest, people like myself, essentially Americans, who go through life with this concept of almost false hope. And what I mean is that I grew up with stories of how amazing Sudan used to be, how amazing the Middle East used to be, how there used to be the center of agriculture and resources, how it was an education capital, and how people really used to be able to come to Sudan and learn from Sudanese teachers. I mean, I heard about stories about New Year's parties and how culture used to be different, how Khartoum and Cairo and Baghdad used to be compared to like the rest of the world, used to compare with these European cities. And for a large part of my life, that almost formed my identity. That almost, I heard it so much, I almost decided, what kind of major would I study in? Would it be something that, would support the concept of the old Sudan and how great it was? Should I decide where to live in my life? Should I be in America? Should I be in Sudan? Should I be in the Emirates? Just to support this idea of this old Sudan. And you know what? To be honest, all of it was very much a fantasy. And when a fantasy becomes part of your identity, nothing really comes out of it. You're just wishing. So out of all that, I would tell you that the real story of Hack Sudan, the thing that we did in Sudan, started off in a cafe with a bunch of MIT and Harvard students sitting there for the first time, outside of MIT and Harvard, up in a cafe in Khartoum. And we said, yo, why don't we do a hackathon? And straight up, the first thing that happened is they were like, there's no way this could happen. There's no way this could ever be a possibility. There's too many problems. I mean, where would you do it? It's during Ramadan, you know what I mean? It's hot during the day. People are tired. They're busy at night. There's ain't enough time for this kind of thing, you know what I mean? And more importantly, we're all about to leave the country in 2 weeks. How are we supposed to motivate people within 2 weeks to come through to something they never necessarily even heard of? But there was a girl in our group named Amna. She was at the University of Khartoum. She was telling people about MIT. By the by, she mentioned, she was like, okay, we might be doing a hackathon. And something amazing happened. 70 people straight up at that event right then and there signed up to do that hackathon. And so we looked to ourselves, we were like, okay, I guess we got to do this thing. So those people joined up on the Facebook page. And they posted questions like, this one dude posted with just an exclamation point and a question mark. He was like, Man antum, who are you guys? And we had like when someone tells you that, you're just like, what did you mean? Like culturally, physically, stuff like that. But it's interesting, right? But we just kept getting bowled over by different surprises. Like along the way, we went to the biggest corporation in Sudan called Dal Group, and we talked to them. We were like, yo, do you want to support us in this? And the first thing they were like is, of course, cautious and suspicious. We negotiated for about a week, and out of nowhere, they just came through, and they were like, you know what? You can use one of our lecture halls. You can use this to have the event. And then another big surprise happened. Day of the event, 50 people actually showed up. 30 of those people pitched ideas. And a lot of these ideas ended up becoming reality. For example, some of them were super technical. For example, there was Miro, which is a voice-activated operating system. So essentially, there was these two kids, one's 13 and 14, teamed up with some high school, with 2 college students, and they made an app that essentially enabled you to talk to your computer, turn on Facebook, turn on WhatsApp, all these different things. So I was just blown away right there. But there were other ideas too, ideas that went into social issues. For example, an educational website, which connected people to teach them more about how to figure out what majors they should take and what to do to actually succeed in college. And then there was apps about governance, telling people what documents they need to get before they go to a government office, or what signatures they need, so they didn't have to wait in the sun just to go back home to come back again. And that's a real story. And then there was other social apps, things about new delivery services, even before things like TaskRabbit were here in America, where there was kids who were under sanctions in Sudan thinking about that. And traffic, real-time traffic through crowdsourcing. So all these ideas ended up coming to real, and that was the coolest thing. Something happened in Sudan that doesn't typically happen at MIT Hackathon. There were just as many people at the closing ceremony as there were at the opening ceremony. 12 teams presented their projects, what they actually built in a week, and it was amazing. In fact, one team came out, they built these set of trash bins, very colorful, very tasteful, that they were going to put all across the city to engender a concept of taking care of the city and making it clean. And there was a person, representative from the Dell group in the audience, right then and there just said, "Stop, we want to partner with you on this." And everyone in the room was just shocked, and it was amazing. So for me, this concept of Hack Sudan was just a way to stop fantasizing and start actualizing, start making something real. We had $300, 2 weeks, and a hell of a lot of doubt. However, in reality, we discovered there was a sea of untapped potential ready to knock down each of those barriers. More specifically, 6 months after we left the country, after we just flew away, as many organizations do, the Hack Sudan team in Sudan put on another event. This time bigger, this time better, even more sponsors. And ever since then, I mean, really just in general, there's just been this growing community of people who are just doing entrepreneurship and everything like that. I only say that as a shameless plug because Startup Weekend's happening right now in Khartoum. You should check that out, as well as TEDx and a lot of other things, and all across the world, especially in the Arab region. But what I wanted to come and tell you guys today, which is really important, is that the concepts of hopelessness, defeat, false hope, and fantasy, they can all be replaced by real hope. And what is real hope? Real hope is real people. It is real struggles, real dreams, real potential, youth taking their destiny into their own hands. And as we look across the region, that's what we see. We have a huge generation of people who are ready to achieve greatness. And you guys, imagine what you can do when you go back to try to tap into that. And I promise you, it's amazing. I leave you with the words of the Hack Sudan director, Doha Khalifa. She's in Sudan. And she couldn't be here with us today, but she didn't want to hear this. She said that everyone should care about these hackathons because they result in great ideas, great projects, and great people. It brings out the best of Sudan and encourages the youth to express their ideas and beliefs. At the end of the day, we are the youth and we are the future of Sudan, so why not start building that future now? Stop wishing, start doing.